There are three main reasons why you should start working out. Number one, it helps build comfortability in your own body. Number two, it helps compound the halo effect, meaning people are going to be treating jack people nicer than they're going to be treating skinny people just by their nature. Plus, it'll help you get out of altercations. Some people just want to fight, and odds are, if you're jacked, they're not going to want to fight you. The third reason is working out is fundamental for your health. This is honestly the most important reason. Doing things such as push ups can help prevent arthritis in your hands. Just getting your blood pumping is going to be fundamental for your heart health. My generation and below sadly hasn't been taught this. We've been docile playing Fortnite all day. And this is a lesson that I fear so many people just haven't been taught. If you're not working out, you're doing so many bad things for your health. But in turn, if you start working out, then it's going to be one of the highest return on investment things that you can do. That's a business term where this much effort is going to give you this much reward. That's how much return on investment is in working out. So you should definitely be doing it. For me, when I started working out, it was partly out of a place of self hate where I was skinny, I had really long hair, and it was greasy too. I did not know how to take care of myself. I had acne. I smelled bad. I couldn't talk to girls because I put them on a pedestal. I only really tried to talk to the hot ones. So I was in this negative spiral where everything was starting to compound negatively on me, and I was starting to be at the bottom of the social hierarchy, which you can say you don't care about popularity all you want, but eventually it stops becoming about popularity and starts becoming the need for social connection. Even with your male friends, if they sense that you need them there, that honestly feels like a burden on them. No one wants to feel like they have to be a charity case for one of their friends, and that was unfortunately what I had turned into. I was something known as the group punching bag, where I didn't really stand up to myself because I didn't want to hurt anyone's feelings. So they would hurl these insults at me and I wouldn't dish it back. I'd kind of just take it. And I was kind of unattractive too. So the halo effect was working against me. I probably shouldn't have been friends with these people, but these were the people that I had chosen to hang around. And I started to become bullied by my own friends. Now, it's no shade on them because they probably didn't even realize that they were doing it. That was kind of just what I deserved. And then I started to work out and things started to become better. I started to actually have a purpose in my life instead of just playing League of Legends all day, which was my game of choice. I started to have something that actually amounted to something in the real world. I was starting to become socialized again. I would never kill myself because I'm a religious person, but I was probably close to the same mind frame of other people who are suicidal. So I would highly recommend working out for everyone in the world, really. I wouldn't say there's maybe if you're like a quadriplegic, you have an excuse, but other than that, I've seen people with one arm doing push ups in a Planet Fitness, and that's like the lowest grade gym, and they were getting it done. So you really have no excuse, especially if you're in school still and you play Fortnite all day. This video is for you. You need to start working out so that you have something purposeful in the real world. My problem was I refused to look into the future, and I see so many other people do this. It's really easy to turn off your brain, especially when it comes to something like an addiction, and not speculate what the consequences of this action are. You don't think this is true? Think about that slice of pie that you ate and didn't even think about how it would make you feel the next day. Whenever you're in this spiral of playing video games, you have to be able to look 5 years down the line. If you're not still playing video games, then you probably shouldn't be playing video games today. It's just something that's pleasurable and something that mimics a purpose for so many young men. For me, I played video games all the way till I was 18 years old. I could have built any skill. I spent way over 20,000 hours on video games, and I have nothing to amount for it. This physique, this channel, this was all from things outside of video games. And it's something that you can build really easily, especially if you are a gamer, because you have the ability to dedicate yourself to something. So that's something that maybe you can be confident about. Step one to working out is building the correct mindset. Now, I want you to take notes throughout this video, but this one in specific, you have to ask yourself a question. Why do I want to start working out? Now, for a lot of people, this might be just to get girls. And in my opinion, this is a problem because it's the same thing with video games. If you're just working out because you want sex, ultimately, that's a really bad reason because that runs out. This has the same flaw as video games where you look into the future and it doesn't really amount to anything. You look a few years down the line, getting that girlfriend really didn't matter because you ended up breaking up anyways. So I see a lot of people fall into this trap where they just lift to get girls and then they start to get girls and then they stop lifting. They stop pursuing their goals and they pedestalize this girl. And that is something that would have happened to me if I ended up getting a girlfriend during this time that I was just beginning. I would have stopped. I would have sacrificed it all for her. And I'm glad I didn't because that pursuit of my goals was much more important than any relationship that I could have had. So if you're not going to lift just to get girls, then what should your purpose be? I said partially the reason that I started lifting was because I hated myself, but the reason that I journaled out for myself is that I was going to lift for my future family. Now, this is how you look further down the line. If you get a girlfriend, it's great if she turns into your wife and you guys end up getting married. And your wife ultimately isn't going to want a scrawny or a fat guy who doesn't lift weights. She's going to want a strong man with a six-pack. So maybe that's what you should become so that you can ultimately obtain that goal of getting married. And then past that, once you get that wife, lift for your kids. Lift for your kids right now. Your kids, wouldn't you want them to have a strong dad who can go chase down a pedophile if they look at them wrong at the park? Wouldn't they want a strong dad to look up to instead of a scrawny dad who plays Magic the Gathering all day? I don't even know what you guys do nowadays. Plays Fortnite. They're not going to want that. They're going to want a dad who they can look up to as their role model. You get to be the superhero if you work out. So that should definitely be the reason that you start. Step 2 is write down your split. Now, a split is basically just the rules of how you're working out. And there's a couple ways to do this. If you have access to a gym, you can write a gym split of ultimately what I'm going to teach you guys is push-pull legs. If you don't have a gym, that's called calisthenics. Calisthenics is cool because you can learn tricks and do all these weird handstand push-ups with weights. Calisthenics is harder to progress in the gym because the gym is just as easy as adding a little bit of weight every time and you progressively get stronger. Calisthenics, you have to work a little harder. So if you can get a gym membership, I would recommend you to, but the split I'm going to give you guys is ultimately going to be calisthenics. Now, first I want to talk about you can do cardio instead of all this weightlifting stuff and still get the health benefits. But you look at marathon runners and they almost look unhealthy. So that is something to consider. Maybe doing so much cardio can be bad for you. I think you should ultimately pair it with strength training just because what man doesn't want to be strong? But if you're pursuing a sport too, that's pretty good for you. If you just want to start running because you're fat, maybe you want to lose fat and get a six-pack. That's in the same boat for me as getting girls, because once you get that six pack, at least you're going to want muscle. At least you're going to progress. I would just suggest, if you're fat, start strength training along with the cardio and do both. Ultimately, you should be doing a little bit of cardio, or either before your workout as a warm up or after your workout. You should be getting cardio in an ideal situation alongside the strength training, because your heart health is really important. And just strength training, you look at bodybuilders on a bulk, they're tired after going up the stairs still. They're just as bad as docile human beings. So ideally, you're doing some sort of training that involves cardio as well. Cardio is like you're running, you're swimming, even sports. Now for strength training, I'm going to give you guys a calisthenics split. Let me grab my book because I wrote it down. I want you guys to write this down too. Okay, so for this split, you're going to be pursuing a push-pull legs plan. Now, push-pull legs is the idea that you're going to be working your chest, triceps, and shoulders, your push movements on one day, your pull movements on the second day, which is your back and your biceps, and then on the third day, you're going to work your legs. And then you're going to do this again, and then you're going to rest on Sundays. That's the way that I like to do it. You can also rest after you do your push-pull legs for more optimal muscle growth. For me, I value consistency. I value some black and white rules, and my black and white rule is that I rest on Sunday and work out every other day. So for this push-pull leg split, I want you to write this down. Your push day for your chest, triceps, and shoulders, you're going to start with 5 sets of push-ups to failure. Every single set should be to failure. Make sure you're stretching before you do this. I definitely believe that young people should be stretching. It's a lot better for their longevity. Getting an injury, especially in weightlifting, means losing muscle. So stretch before every workout, just so that you don't risk the injury. On push days, I like to do shoulder circles and little chest stretches like this. That stretches your chest out a little bit. I like to hold this one above the head. And with all of these movements, I'm at the end of the video going to be giving you form. So make sure you watch to the end if you're confused on how to do any of these. So you stretch at the start of every workout, maybe do a little cardio to get your blood flowing. For push day, you're going to do 5 sets of push-ups to failure for your chest and your triceps. And then every 3 days or so, you do diamond push-ups, because that emphasizes your triceps. As a man, this isn't really aesthetic for the ladies, in the sense of if you want to lift to get girls. But every guy can appreciate big triceps. They're like 70% of your arm, so it is nice. So you're doing diamond push-ups every 3 days, 5 sets, 4 sets of chair dips, and 4 sets of lateral raises. Now the 5 sets of diamond push-ups replace the regular push-ups. That's your push day. And you're going to do the same thing. Honestly, you can do this for about 6 months to a year. I wouldn't say do it indefinitely. Definitely get a gym split. Or you can progress to some advanced calisthenics work, but you shouldn't just stay at push-ups for 6 months unless maybe push-ups are hard for you and you have to do progressions up to them. Then you probably could. For pull day, you're going to do 5 sets of pull-ups. For this, you need to buy some bands and some sort of a pull-up bar. You can do this on a tree. It's not too limited how you do your pull-ups. You just need to get a motion for pull-ups. And bands are the best way to do this, in my opinion, because pull-ups are deceptively hard. For me, I can only do 10 pull-ups and then I'm at failure. And I've been lifting for 2.5 years. Next, you're going to be doing 4 sets of rows with a backpack. Now, if you have dumbbells, you can use dumbbells, any sort of a weight. But an easy way to do this is to fill a backpack with books or rocks if you have an extra backpack, and add the weight yourself. And then you're going to be doing a rowing movement for your back. And then next, you're going to be doing 4 sets of hammer curls or normal curls. I like to do half and half. Whenever I first started, this was the split that I did. So I would do 2 sets of hammer curls and 2 sets of normal curls for the biceps. Now for legs, it's pretty simple. Not really. You're going to be doing 5 sets of squats. That's simple. All of these to failure. 3 sets of Bulgarian split squats, which are probably going to be your most hated movement, but these are going to cause the most growth in your legs. Legs are the hardest to hit failure on. You're going to have to learn to do it. And then 4 sets of Romanian deadlifts with a backpack. This is going to be for your hamstrings. This hits every muscle in the legs, but the calves. But if you're running, if you're doing some sort of a cardio, like boxing, your calves will grow if you box. Your calves will grow a little bit if you run. Everything should be okay. Ideally, if you're in the gym, you're training calves as well. Same thing with your forearms. If you're in the gym, you're training your forearms. Pro tip, train your neck. I train my neck twice a week. It's very important to look older as a man, and that's something that's good if you're below 21 years old. Even if you're older, training your neck is very important. That's a very aesthetic muscle. People notice it. If you have a skinny neck, people aren't going to respect you as much. A skinny neck makes physiques look weird. So train your neck. Step 3 is just get started. Now, while it is important to learn form, you shouldn't obsess over it. Over time, you'll end up watching videos on how to perfect your push-ups. And the sooner that you can do this, the better. But for today, I'm going to be showing you guys the form on how to do all of these movements. Whatever day of the week it is, do that respective day for working out. And if you ever falter, remember why you started. You wrote down that goal for a reason. Now, instead of focusing on form, instead of obsessing over that, get started. And if the movement is too hard, say you can't do a push-up, say you can't do a pull-up, switch to progressions. You can do easier versions of all of these body weight movements. They're designed so that even if you're overweight and a push-up is a lot more weight than for a skinny person, you shouldn't be upset about that. You just have to lower the bar a little bit. And that's not that big of a deal. You have to walk before you can run, and eventually you'll be remembering the time that you've been doing wall push-ups and be so grateful that you did that for yourself. This is a crazy journey to go on, and I respect you all for watching this video this far. Actually trying to take some action in your life, that's so important, and I'm proud of you guys for that. So let's get to the form part of the video. Alright, we're going to go in order showing the form of all the exercises. We're going to start with push day. You're going to do this on Monday and Thursday. Let's start with the push-up. Set you up. Okay. So this is a push-up. The main thing you want to focus on is letting your chest be the first point of contact to the ground. As long as your chest hits first, that's going to be activating the chest, and then you're going to push back up and keep your body straight as an arrow. Honestly, I would rather you kind of hang your butt in the air and still do push-ups like this, because this is still going to give you some of a challenge. If you're humping the ground down here and your chest isn't even hitting whenever you're doing your push-ups and it looks like this, that's incorrect. That's the wrong form. You're not going to gain muscle doing this. Now, if you can't do a push-up, you can start on the wall and just push off the wall like this. Try to get like 50 of those in a row. Or you can go on your knees. Do a girl push-up. Don't be embarrassed if you can't do a normal push-up. I would rather you do something like this. And with this, the same thing applies. Plant your hands on the ground. It's just your knees. My feet are in the air. I'm pushing down. Make your chest hit first. You see that little gap right here? Your chest is hitting the ground first. Then you go back up. You don't want to flare your elbows out here. That's unnatural. You don't want your elbows all the way in, because that's a different movement. As you can see, this muscle right here is activating. A good happy medium, you're going to be hitting your chest. And then after the knee push-ups, once you can get about 20 of these in a row, you can switch to push-up. Is it declines? Push-up declines, where you're in your push-up stance and you just count to 5, land, and then get on your knees, go back up. And that way you can train the same muscles of the push-up while still being unable to do a push-up. Now the next exercise is going to be chair dips. So let me grab my chair. Alright, you're on your chair, you're pushing down, you're going back up. That's 1. You're going to want to shoot for like 15 on these if you can. And once the chair position where your knees are bent becomes too easy, flatten out your legs like you're in a push-up. Plant your heels on the ground and do it like this. That'll add more weight. And then eventually, once that becomes easier, you can add a second chair on the front to rest your feet on, also straight. And then you can transition ultimately to normal dips. That's what you want to do, and that's where you have either a chair on each side or a bar on each side, and you're going down and you're going back up. I'll assume that you've all seen a dip. For the last movement for chest day, we're going to do the lateral raise. For all of these, since they're about body weight, you want to aim for about 15 to 20 reps of these. Alright, unfortunately my phone storage was full, so we're going to have to start that spiel over again. So whenever I tell you you want to do a certain amount of reps, your reps are how many you're doing. So this is 1 rep, 2 reps. And then your sets are going to be how many groups of that exercise that you're going to be doing. So 1 set of 15 will be 15 push-ups. Your second set will probably still be 15 push-ups. And ultimately you want to get as close to failure as possible. So that's when you're shaking, you can't really push any further. And then in between your sets you're going to be resting. So I prescribed you 5 sets of push-ups. So in between those 5 sets, you rest for like a minute or 2 just to not overwork yourself. These are lateral raises. You can do this with backpacks. You're going to want to take these light, because I've been lifting for like 2.5 years. I still only do 20 pounds for these. For these, you're going to want to hinge at your hips. I'll show you what that looks like. Hinge at your hips, keep your legs straight. So you're kind of leaning forward, and then you have your dumbbells or your backpacks, whatever you need to get that weight up. Roll your shoulders back a little bit, and you're going to raise, and you'll feel this in your shoulders. Some people react better if you're in the gym to cables. I honestly love the dumbbells. Whenever you pull them up, you don't want to pull them up forward per se, because you want to hit the side of your shoulder. Whenever, I'm assuming you're lifting for bodybuilding purposes, and the side of your shoulder is really what pops out. The front of your shoulder, you're still going to be hitting that in your chair dips. You're still going to be hitting that in your push-ups. So you want to feel it in the side of your shoulder as much as possible. And to do this, whenever you pull it up, you almost want to focus on bringing your arms backwards. That's my little pro tip for you guys. You should be doing it at about this speed. Try not to swing too much with your back. You can do that once you get tired, but at first, try your best to just keep it controlled. And these will get your shoulders right. These will give you that wider shoulder that you want, and that's going to really help you get that Dorito chip shape that all guys should ultimately have who build their bodies up. One thing I forgot to mention on the lateral raise is you want to keep your arms straight. Some people will bend their arm like this and then raise like that. I find that to be kind of lazy. Just keep your arms straight. It's my prescription to you guys. Alright, so we're going to have to record the pull-up segment right here, because this is unfortunately where my pull-up bar is, so don't mind the mess. So for pull-ups, you want to grab onto your pull-up bar. Obviously, you're going to want to have bands, because this movement is not for the faint of heart. This is deceptively harder than people perceive it to be. You're going to grab onto the bar about 1.5 inches, 2 inches further out than shoulder width, sorry. And this is going to feel natural for you guys. Make sure your hands are over the bar, not under. This is more of a bicep movement. And this is going to work your back and your biceps, pretty much your whole back. This is an insane movement. People don't do it enough, and people already do it a lot. So you want to grab onto your bar, have a band of some sort on the middle of the bar, put that in between your legs to make it a little easier. And then you're going to want to pull yourself up. And one problem that I've personally had is I would pull myself up and flare my elbows out. The problem with this is it doesn't work your back as well. So if you want to work your back really well, whenever you pull yourself up, focus on driving your elbows right to your rib cage. So it should look like this. And then you go back down, and then you do it again. And to stop yourself from swinging, you can look up. I learned that from a military person. And that's your pull-up. If this is too hard for you, one thing you can do, or if you can do a set of normal pull-ups and can't do another one, you're prescribed 5 of these because these are amazing. You're going to want to jump up instead of pulling yourself up and do pull-up negatives. Same thing with the push-ups. Jump, try to count to 5 while lowering yourself. That's going to work your back in the same way. Okay, next we have a few sets of backpack rows. Whatever muscle you possibly could have neglected in pull-ups is going to be emphasized here. This is going to emphasize your middle back, pretty much your whole back, your biceps too. Back day is pretty straightforward. These movements are phenomenal. They're foolproof too. So you can do this with one backpack, 2 backpack. If you got dumbbells, use dumbbells. You can take these decently heavy. You're going to want to, if you have one of them, grab onto a chair or something. I'll grab onto the wall. Hinge yourself forward. Keep your back straight. Hinge at the hips. And then what you're going to want to do is get as far as a stretch as possible by rolling your shoulders forward and then pull yourself all the way back. And your shoulders should roll back with that. And you're going to want to do these until failure as well. This is a wonderful movement. If you want to gain muscle, pro tip, the higher rep range is going to be better, 15, 20 reps. That's going to stimulate your muscles in a way that will make them grow. But if you want to get stronger, inversely, you want to be hitting failure at about 6 reps. So you're going to make that backpack really heavy if your goal is strength. If your goal is muscle, go for 15 to 20. That'll make you somewhat tired, and you'll get cardio benefits as well. So that is the backpack rows. We'll move on to hammer curls. You're going to have some backpacks or dumbbells. And the thing that distinguishes hammer curls from normal curls is normal curls will have your hands facing outwards. Now, we're also going to be doing normal curls because this further emphasizes the short head of the bicep. As you can see, it's really easy to get a bicep pump. Hammer curls are your hands are facing inwards towards your body, and you're going to be curling straight up. Whenever I'm doing this, I'm rolling my shoulders back, and that's going to perfectly target the bicep muscle. Everything's going to be going good. Honestly, I don't think that you need to be training biceps if you're training for strength. I think if you train pull-ups and rows, then you're already going to get some bicep improvements, but what guy doesn't want big biceps? So we're going to do some hammer curls. I'd say 2 sets of these and 2 sets of normal curls every single workout. So once you hit failure on your hammer curls, switch them over, do normal curls for some burnout. If you get really tired on your hammer curls and you want to push yourself harder, you can start going to the side like this. It's a good way to go. These movements, can't go wrong with them. These are fundamental for your pull day. This is going to get your back and biceps right. So, next we have legs. Legs are awful. People are notorious for skipping legs. It happens. But we want to keep our integrity. We don't want to be skipping any days in the gym because your future wife likely doesn't want a man with pencil legs. I'm talking to myself from the recent past as well. I have a history of skipping leg day, it is something that no excuses absolutely should not be happening. So for leg day, we're going to start with squats. I'm assuming you all know squats, but I'll teach you the form to do it anyways because I used to have knee problems. So we'll go back on the floor. Oh boy. You can do this with a dumbbell if you want to add some weight. All you do, keep your legs a little further than shoulder width apart, and then I want you to have a sort of duck leg. You want your legs to be pointed out like this so that your knees bend in the way that they're supposed to. Our knees were not meant to bend straight like this. You want them to bend a little bit outwards. So you're going to get in your squat position, stand up straight, squat down all the way, get full depth, and then go back up. Easy peasy. Next, we're going to have Bulgarian split squats. These suck, I'll just say it right now. This is probably my least favorite exercise that we have. You're going to want to grab your dumbbells. You don't have to do it with weight at first. What you're going to do, sit down, put your foot out, about to a comfortable range. I'd say about this far. And then get your other foot on the chair. This is going to take some learning. So my foot is pointed out. You can't see from this angle. My goodness. If you want to look up form on TikTok or something, this video isn't sufficing for you. I understand. But I'm making it as foolproof as possible so that you don't have to look everywhere for things. So you want your leg to be about a foot out from where your crotch is. And then you have your dumbbells in your hands and you squat down. And that's it. It's a one-legged squat. You switch legs. It sucks. I apologize for not being able to give you the best form demonstration for that. Next, we have Romanian deadlifts. These are for your hamstrings. Everything else pretty much hit your glutes and your quads. Leg day is pretty straightforward as well. So I'm going to tilt you forward. Same thing with this one. You want your dumbbells. I would go a little heavier on these. Put your dumbbells in front of you. Your goal is to keep your legs straight the entire time. Kind of like a hamstring stretch where you hinge your back out. And if your knees bend a little bit, that's okay. Just don't be bending them like you're in a squat and you should be fine. And focus on bringing the dumbbells down to your feet like this. It's literally like a hamstring stretch. This will hit your glutes as well. I rounded out my back. You want to keep your back straight. Shoulders back, back straight. Go down, go back up. This is a wonderful hamstring workout. This is going to be doing the bulk majority of your hamstring development, but you also hit hamstrings a little bit in your squats and your Bulgarian split squats. I'm more so stretching than doing the movement, so I'll show you some real reps. Focus on pushing your butt out as far as possible. This looks very gay, but you're probably doing it from the comfort of your room, so don't worry about it. This is going to get your legs right, and you're probably going to get made fun of if you have small legs, so I would take looking a little gay to not get made fun of for my legs to be small personally. That is all the movements except one. I forgot about diamond push-ups, so I'm going to be moving all my gear and we'll get the diamond push-ups out of the way. These are heavy. Don't expect to be able to do diamond push-ups on your first day. All you do, you make a diamond position with your hands. Keep your arms basically touching, and then you go down to your chest like this, and this works your triceps. You can see my triceps going crazy already. Work this in about every 3 days or so, just for a little extra tricep work. Pro tip. And that's all I got for the form demonstration. I hope you guys found that segment of the video entertaining. There's clearly a reason that I talk about nutrition and I don't make gym content. But your diet isn't everything. If you're not exercising, then you can have a perfect diet and things are still going to be going wrong for you health-wise. The Japanese are the longest living people in the world, and their whole culture is stemmed around going for walks. So this is fundamental for your health. The way that weightlifting works, the reason that your doing 3 different muscle groups in 3 different days is that your muscles take time to recover. You're going to be doing your push-ups and you're going to be wondering, why does it hurt? It hurts because you're slightly tearing your muscles and forcing your body to adapt. By pushing this weight, your body's going under this new load and it's starting to realize, okay, I need to be able to push this weight over and over again. I need to be able to do this because this is the reality for this human. So your body starts to grow, your chest starts to get bigger, things like that whenever these muscles reheal. And the recovery is just as important as the activity. So ideally, your muscles need 3 days to recover. So make sure you're getting adequate sleep alongside of this, and you will grow much faster. Your diet is important. Your diet's probably 30% of weightlifting, of growing. If you're putting junk into your body, maybe you can get a 6-pack, but you're going to end up feeling like crap. So in between your sets, make sure you're hitting your 1 to 2 minutes of rest. I've always done 1 minute, but if you want to be optimal with it, you can do a 2-minute rest. I feel personally like that takes a lot of time, and I can get just as good of a workout in with a 1-minute rest. So do what works for you. You're doing these movements ideally in higher rep ranges. So you're trying to do 20 push-ups. You're trying to do 15 of your chair dips. You're trying to do as many band pull-ups as you can instead of switching to the big boy pull-ups, because this is going to help your muscles balloon out. Your muscles are going to end up growing in the higher rep ranges a lot faster than in the lower rep ranges. And the lower rep ranges, say you're hitting failure at 4 to 6 reps, then you're going to be getting stronger. You're not necessarily going to be getting bigger. And if that is your goal, then absolutely do that. Maybe you're wondering, how do I get abs? I would recommend they have ab circuits that you can do on YouTube. Just look up one of those, follow along with it. Maybe do it twice a week as your cardio. Ideally, you're doing some sort of 20 to 30 minutes of cardio every single day alongside this weight training. And then on Sundays, just rest. That rest is where a lot of the growth happens, and I cannot emphasize that a lot. Rest, eat optimally, eat highly nutritious meals. Don't be eating sour cream, because that's basically empty calories. Of course, I had to make this video about nutrition somehow. Now, you're making these micro tears in your muscles, and they're going to grow. It's going to hurt. It's not going to necessarily be easy. That's why so many people end up falling off on weightlifting. Like I said earlier, if your reason for lifting isn't strong enough, I would recommend you still start. You still get going. It's just going to be challenging to want to go in the morning or whenever you want to lift. This is something that is more of a lifeline. I'll start that over. This is something that's more of a lifelong process, and ultimately, I don't know about you guys, but my goal is to be like the black guy, the old 60-year-old black guy that I see at the park. He's just jacked and he's just working out for fun. That's how I want to be in 60 years. I want to be the dad that's a superhero, that's strong. And the way to do this is through building muscle. So this was a long video. If you watched to the end and liked it, like and comment. I'm trying to be as specific as possible for you guys because I really like the black and white rules when it comes to these sort of things. So never skip a day. If you skip a day, don't beat yourself up about it, really. But do your best to start going every single day. Keep that hunger. Remember why you started. Maybe check that entry in your journal once a week. This is meant to be a beginner starter split for the gym. You should definitely not still be doing this after about 6 months if you're hitting 20 to 30 push-ups, if you're hitting 5 to 10 pull-ups. Either get a gym membership, or maybe I'll make a video on some higher level calisthenics things that you can do. It's hard whenever you're doing calisthenics, which is the body weight training, because eventually your body weight starts to feel like paper. It starts to get lighter. And then pushing yourself through 50 reps is a lot harder than pushing yourself through 10 reps to failure. It's more of a mental game at that point. So I would recommend, if you really want to get stronger, the gym is probably the best way to do it. But calisthenics tricks are cool too. Whatever path you want to pursue, this is going to be your first step. So after 3 to 6 months, eventually you're just going to outgrow this. This is perfect for beginners. This is absolutely what you should start out doing. And it will build you a decent physique. Alongside of this stuff, train your abs every now and then, train forearms, maybe make it a mission for yourself to train forearms at the end of your pull days. Train your neck. These are muscles that honestly, they look nice. It's very functional to have strong forearms and a strong neck. Maybe you can, for cardio, join a martial art. That's what I did. I absolutely love boxing. Absolutely would recommend it to you guys. I've got a way for you to donate in my description. If you got a lot of money and really like the video, you want to help out the channel, it'd be awesome to make my first dollar. Other than that, your body is a temple. The Bible commands us to treat it like that. And that's exactly what you're trying to do in watching that video. So I'm proud of you guys. Thanks for watching.